Welcome to the Heart and Soul Wellness Podcast, where we inspire women by teaching applicable skills and tools and assisting them with connecting with one another, healing, and aspiring to their highest selves so they can reach their full potential. Thank you so much for joining us. It's such an honor to be with you. And I'm so grateful to have one of my colleagues on the show with us today to be talking with us about attachment theory. So I have Patricia Totterer with us, and she's phenomenal. She is a wealth of knowledge. And so I am very confident that you will love this podcast. So Patricia Totterer comes originally from the small country of Uruguay, where she obtained a bachelor's of social work degree in 1982. She also obtained a master's degree in clinical social work from the University of Utah and has enjoyed working with children, adolescents, families, both in the private and public sectors. She moved to managing small private practices after she served as the program director for support services at Children's Services Society of Utah. She has been a member of the Practicum Advisory Committee for the Graduate School of Social Work and an assistant clinical professor, functioning as a field instructor for the University of Utah. Patricia has worked with the refugee populations in Europe and in the United States with families in situations of poverty and individuals recovering from addictive behaviors. Her expertise focuses on children and adolescent mental health services, treating trauma and attachment disorders, and family dynamics related to adoptions, divorce, foster care, and how to therapeutically parent difficult children. She currently focuses on producing forensic evaluations and advocacy for individuals and families participating in immigration processes, and also serves as an expert witness on the federal immigration courts. She prefers to keep a no-fault problem-solving attitude to find solutions to life challenges using everybody's strengths. Patricia has 6 children and 6 grandchildren. She likes jumping from airplanes and swing dancing. She speaks 4 languages, but her favorite one is the language of compassion. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Patricia, for being here.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me.
Yes. So if you would tell our listeners a little bit about what brought you into social work and to understanding attachment and trauma.
Both me coming into social work and into the work of attachment were works of the universe. I grew up in a small little town. There were no social workers at the time. I only knew teachers. I wanted to be a teacher. That was my role model for how life should be done. And then on my last quarter, on 12th grade, my father bought the Sunday newspaper, and there was a small attachment, on careers and opportunities at the university. And I found on the very last page a little rectangle that talked about social work. And when I read that description, I jumped up and I'm like, this is what I want to be doing. This is it.
I love it.
I didn't even know that it existed. That's how I went into social work. Attachment was along those lines. I moved into a new job. The previous person that was a specialist in attachment had left, but our website still said that we specialized in attachment. So I was handed a book to read on attachment, and they told me, on Monday, you have your first client.
Oh.
And I had to devour the book through the weekend and get to know. Of course, I knew of attachment, but I didn't know. And I start just from the bottom, just from scratch. And it fascinated me. So I stayed. A lot of my inspiration was my own father. He was moved from maternal care to be with relatives at the age of 4, never met his mother again until he was 30 years old, and adored his mother afterwards. And I was fascinated by his response to this lost mother. It always, it's like, this is amazing. He doesn't hate her. And so, that kind of inspired my work.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's incredible. Mm-hmm. So let's start off by just talking about the different attachment styles and how we develop attachment.
All right. So a baby is born with the ability to both attract, receive, and integrate care, right? We are born with the innate ability with what is called mirror neurons to incorporate that typically a maternal figure into the inside of ourselves, right? And so what babies coo, they reach out, they respond, you make a face, they make a face back. All those are behaviors to hone in a figure, a maternal figure, to bring her into the realm of their attention. It's like, here I am, it's like, take care of me, right? It's all an effort to try to secure our needs, to have our needs met. And the mother responds back by falling in love with the baby. And so the mother comes and goes and is attentive. And it's like a dance that the mom and the baby dance with each other. And the baby, again, is born with the innate ability to elicit those responses from the mom. And the mom, if she's healthy, has, of course, the ability to care for and respond to the baby. In the comings and goings, millions of times, when the care is secure, the baby develops two concepts. I must be very good because I'm always having what I need. Oh my gosh, I must be wonderful. I must be something incredible because look, I got what I need, right? And the baby also develops a second concept. The world is a great place.
Yes.
I'm taken care of, What it does, not only emotionally, but biologically, is lightening up that brain like a Christmas tree. The baby begins to imitate behaviors, learn, and eventually it learns to make different behaviors and similar, but in his own style or way. The baby develops a very important concept, which is empathy. I'm taken care of. Somebody cares for me. The world is a good place. I'm a good person. I can care for others. I can care for myself and I can care for others. That's ideal, right?
Beautiful, yes.
Right. Now, that base, that foundation, and the mom is typically called like a secure base, right? It's somebody that I can rely on and depend to have my needs met. Gives that baby the ability to tolerate the very first instances of being told no. Now baby starts crawling, is reaching for an electric outlet, and the mom says no. And the baby is like terrified. It's like, is this the same mother that cooed with me and cuddled me? And, but what does the mom do? After the mom says no and the baby cries, the mom, oh, no.
Yeah.
She soothes, right? She soothes. She has to say no, but she follows up with a soothing behavior.
Yes.
Okay, that's secure attachment. Baby learns, I'm loved. The world is a good place. There are rules and boundaries, but I'm okay. I can take them. Because I know I'm safe and I'm loved, right? That's secure attachment.
Yes.
Many a time that doesn't happen. We have a variety of different things that can go wrong. From chronic lack of care, children raised in orphanages with only biological needs met, and no stimulation, no cooing, no dance to dance with a mom, right? Baby can have a home where the mom is impacted, is anxious, the mom is avoidant, the mom is insecure, the mom is being abused, she's addicted, she's depressed, or there is extreme poverty, all those things will impact the ability of the mom to interact lovingly and attentively with the baby, right? So from those circumstances, different styles emerge of attachment, right? Typically, there are 4 styles recognized in they are called attachment styles, right? So we can have an anxious attachment, right? Baby is not sure what will happen. Baby has gotten different responses throughout the continuum of those interactions. The baby now, and again, this is also influenced by our own genetics and makeup, So on top of what's happening environmentally, the baby has certain genes and dispositions. And so baby is like, oh, I'm not sure what will happen. I am like fearful. I develop a sense of not being confident about myself. Mm-hmm. And typically children internalize everything, meaning children subconsciously tend to believe it's my fault.
Yes.
Right? And so I must not be very good because I'm not having what I need, right? And so there is shame incorporated. I am not enough. And baby learns to walk on eggshells, doesn't know how to respond. And remember, we do this mirroring from our caregivers. Mm-hmm. And so we incorporated those patterns, right? And we are generalizing to the world now. This is what the world looks like. Mm-hmm. Cannot be so sure. And I don't feel good about myself. And therefore, I interact from that deficit with everybody else, mm-hmm. with peers, with teachers, later on with a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a lover or, friends. This is my way of like not too sure of myself, right? I'm anxious and I'm shameful, right? Mm-hmm. We have an avoidant also style or dismissive, right? In this case, baby may have been exposed to some harm. And so there is an increase in fear from the anxious attachment. Avoidant is like, anything bad can happen. I better not even look at my mom. Mm-hmm. So the baby needs the mom and goes to the mom and relates to the mom, but there is this turning the face away, clingy, but avoidant at the same time. I cling because the baby is born again biologically to depend on somebody and to seek care, but avoidant because I don't know what may come. A slap may come, or something distressful, or a yell, and so I need this, but I don't know that I want it, but I need it. And so I'm kind of, avoiding.
So a lot of back and forth. We see a lot of back and forth then with these kiddos of clinging, pushing away. So it's like this, I need to cling to you and then I need to push away, but it's inconsistent caregiving. And so they feel inconsistent.
Yeah, it's inconsistent caregiving, and it's a fearful response in the part of the child, right? Because it's not sure what's going to come his or her way. And so the responses are chaotic. And think about that. You go to first grade, kindergarten, and you are like fearful of the world, not sure of yourself, seeing others through that light. You're going to be attracted to some of the chaos. You're going to associate with others that maybe look strong and powerful, but are not very healthy, seeking for you to be protected. A lot of that, there is a little bit of dysfunction, right, in my internal state and in the way I interact with the world and who I seek to associate with. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That foundation is so important.
Right. Another thing to this kind of attachment is that my emotions tend to be low. I don't express emotions very well because who knows what will happen, right? And so I need to be in control. I don't get very emotional because I I need to be, I'm not sure what that I will have the care I need. So I got to appear completely in control, completely sometimes powerful or efficient, effective, sufficient. I don't need anything from anybody. It's like I am low-key emotionally, low responsive and low-key. I have problems with intimacy. I can't really trust another person will be there for me to take care of me or understand me. So I'm this efficient, powerful person that knows how to do it all. And I don't accept help or seek help very well. Right?
Yeah. And push people away when they start to get close to them. If it feels unsafe.
Yes.
Let me ask a question. So for the anxious attachment style, what are some of those behaviors for somebody who is very anxiously attached?
Right. So I think that the most harm that is done with anxious attachment is the attack to the self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that I am enough. I dislike myself, sometimes even hate myself. And if I am confronted with healthy care, I fear I'm going to fall completely apart. Mm-hmm. It's deadly to me. So I don't attach because, hey, this person subconsciously, right? I'm thinking, I am trash. My own mother didn't fall in love with me. What am I worth? Nothing. What am I good for? Nothing. Somebody comes seeking to attach to me and give me healthy care or attention. And I'm like, they're going to discover that I am awful. And I am, so I'm like, I need them and I want them. And this kind of feels good. But at the same time, it doesn't feel good because I don't feel good about myself. And so I'm chaotic. I seek them and I don't. I accept them and I don't. I relate and I don't. I'm angry or I'm happy or I'm all over the place, right? There is another thing that happens with insecure anxious attachment. Remember, part of that attachment was to grow enough of a trunk, a root of self-esteem that I can tolerate boundaries, right?
That's right.
But if I don't feel good about myself, what is the derivative of that? Yeah. Nobody is going to be my boss. Nobody is going to tell me what to do. The world didn't respond good to me. Why should I trust this teacher that tells me to do this or this? Friends, like, you go away. I'm the boss. You're not going to tell me what to do. So I am probably at high risk of becoming deviant, having problematic behaviors in adolescence. I will not tolerate boundaries and rules very well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Boundaries don't feel comfortable. And so then we go to these other behaviors.
Right. Because remember, I don't feel good about me and the world. My interpretation is the world is not a good place. So from the combination of that comes the worst of like, I am not worthy of relating or being accepted. I know I'm not good. What are you trying to tell me? Get the heck away from me, right? And I won't tolerate. What? You said I can't go smoke marijuana? I said, yes, sir. I will go exactly and go do that and prove you that. And so, right, it's a combination of these things come from childhood. They come from the care or lack of care or type of care we receive, right? We incorporate. Because think in the continuum that is repeated over and over and over and over again, right?
Exactly.
Those interactions, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And we see somatic issues with anxious attachment as well, which I know can show up with both styles of attachment.
Right.
But haven't you seen that where
I'm sorry, what I don't think I understood.
Oh yeah.
Somatic
issues.
Yes. Think about, again, the ability for that baby that is born with a radar, right? To attract the behavior of the mom, to care for him or her, and to mimic, behaviors, the mirroring, the neural mirror system, right? Think about it. Babies truly have somatic needs, right? Their stomach is hurting because they are hungry, so they cry to elicit mom coming to feed me. Their skin is burning because they are dirty or poopy, or so they cry and the mom comes and changes the diaper or whatever the baby feels, right? So if I don't have a secure environment where to express my needs as I continue developing, what do I keep? I keep the primitive root of attracting care through somatic needs, right? If I am always sick, somebody will come and care for me. If I'm always, dizzy or headaches or stomach aches or different complaints, I will get attention. I have no clue how to express my needs and my emotions to attract attention, to receive the attention I desperately need. So I go to a dysfunctional attention seeking, and it's not it's not, malice. I don't have a clue. So if I'm sick, somebody will come and take care of me, and that's what I need, right? So there are somatic, there are somatic, yeah. Right. Then we have a disorganized attachment, which is a match between, it's not a match, it's a mix. It's a mix of behaviors, right? Ranging from avoidance all the way to clinginess, right? I'm either avoidant, or I'm clingy. All right. And that's, depending on the circumstances or the person that is interacting with me, I will manifest my needs differently by clinging. Sometimes in adulthood is like, I think that pleasing, a desire to please others taken to a healthy range can be a function of, a healthy function of, securing attention and care and companionship, right? Because I care about you and I do some of the things you like, and I try to learn what you like and be with you and accompany you. Now, an unhealthy level of pleasingness, of course, is dysfunctional because I'm clingy, I'm to the point that I remember I started a mission for the LDS Church, blah, blah. But I had another missionary there. She was not my companion. I met her years later when I was a grown-up adult. And we went out for lunch. We hadn't seen each other many, many years. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it was like a form of adoration. She is like telling me my hair is perfect and I move to the right, she moved to the right. I'm like, what's happening? And she had developed, what is the name of the personality disorder? Dependent personality disorder. You could see it was so obvious. She hasn't seen me in years. And everything I had done that I was telling her about my life, it was a matter of adoration and praise. And I'm like, whoa, this is way too much.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable, right? That's a person that, is trying to have her needs met for friendship and companionship and association in that manner, right?
Right. Yeah.
Kind of immature. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that because it's interesting to think about how these things, our attachment can impact us and how it can show up later on in life. And some of those behaviors can continue on into adulthood.
Right. I think that there is a misconception that I want to kind of address in our society at this time, right? There is a philosophy that says attachment is not good. Thinking or conceptualizing attachment as clinginess, right? Mm-hmm. Like, for example, when a relationship breaks, we should be mindful and be present and take care of ourselves and not cling and, and it's healthy and it's good. But the attachment we're talking about is not clinginess. Is the secure development of emotions, behaviors, and responses enough to satisfy our need for association and our emotional needs met. That's what we're talking about attachment here. How do I internalize others and respond to them in a manner that benefits me and therefore benefits also the other person? You know, when I have empathy, it's a balanced dance. Mm-hmm. We continue dancing that dance. Eventually, when we grow up, we evolve from the mother, sphere into relationships with peers, leaders, teachers, coaches, lovers, boyfriends, spouses, children. The ability we have to conceptualize ourselves and relate to others impacts everything in life.
Yeah.
Everything. How are we going to parent our children? How are we going to relate to our friends? How are we going to respond to authority? How are we going to seek and sustain companionship? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to read this little something. This book is Becoming Attached, and it's Robert Karen. And he said something that kind of summarized that. Let me see. Secure attachment in adulthood affects not only the quality of one's parenting, but the quality of one's entire emotional life. Evidence is accumulating that human beings of all ages are happiest and able to deploy their talents to best advantage when they are confident that standing behind them, there are one or more trusted persons who will come to their aid should difficulties arise. Yes. Go ahead.
So beautiful, because we all need this.
Right.
This sense of being seen, being heard. And he said that so beautifully, how we know that if something happens, we have our people that we can call and they're going to show up.
Exactly. Because there is also something that we know through research. When a child had faulty attachment and relationships in the home, the mother was not present for mood disorders, domestic violence, extreme poverty, need to work outside the home, addiction. If that child is able to develop a secure attachment with a person outside the realm of home, a teacher, somebody in a church or a coach or a leader in the community, a mentor, anybody that will grab that kid under their wing, and the kid can learn to mirror behaviors, internalize the care. Something has to be genetically healthy for that child to accept the attachment with another person after their primary caregiver failed in attaching to them, right? But some children are able to do that. And research says if a child secures even one such attachment, they have better chances in the future of being healthier, relating better to others, and participating in society in a positive manner without, problematic behaviors. So think about that. We can repair attachment ourselves. This is when we move into the adult realm. And I can't remember which philosopher. It was one of the Greek philosophers, either Plato or another
Aristotle.
I think it was Aristotle. He said, know thyself.
It was Aristotle. Yeah.
Aristotle. Know thyself. Mm-hmm. If you know what went wrong with you, then you're empowered to fix it, right? And yeah. For example, children of narcissistic mothers, maybe they had a perfect home environment. Everything was clean. There was enough food. there was enough of the practicality of care, right? Maintenance care. Like you were fed, you were changed, you were, shown around, you were like perfunctorily played with, everything was good. But your mom was so self-centered and so into herself that she couldn't see you or make you lit up like a Christmas tree, like we said, right? It was all, you were a show off for your mom, but there was enough care there that you were not traumatized, right? You were traumatized in lesser manner or maybe emotionally. So you now grow up to thinking, I'm not enough because I can never please your mom. And so I gotta either be tippy-toeing around others or being overly pleasing or dismissive, get the heck, whichever path you took, right? You're defensive, you're overly caring, or you are kind of, makes disorganized attention, like come and go, you're not too sure. Well, knowing that about yourself, now your mom is no longer a primary caregiver, right? You grew up, and how are you going to take care of your own needs? How are you going to incorporate, this is what I do because I'm afraid of, or I'm anxious about, or these are the things I'm so sure of. Learn your style, learn your needs. And it's like, okay, that mindfulness, right? How am I going to participate in relationships when this happened to me? I can learn anew how to relate, how to take care of myself, how to interact. It can be repaired. It can be fixed.
Let me ask this. So we know that when we have more than one significant trauma, sometimes people come in to this world and they have, let's say, a narcissistic father and a borderline mother, and it's not a secure base, right? Or they may go through multiple traumas in life, kind of trying to seek out that secure attachment. I'm curious about how you perceive what some of the protective factors are that could support somebody later on in adulthood that didn't have a secure attachment, and maybe even in adulthood wasn't able to find that, but is creating it now, how they can build on their resilience to support them with the security they need in their relationships and all of this.
The curious thing with attachments is it has a dance of two, right? You need something or somebody on the other side that will provide at least some of the things that you need, right? So say you did grow up with an insecure base and dysfunctional attachment, right? And now you face yourself as you are probably entering your teen years with these problematic behaviors. So what are some of the secure or protective factors? First of all, the one person that will see you beyond your behaviors, right? It could be somebody in the youth system. It could be a neighbor. It could be a grandma. It could be an aunt. It could be somebody that can see beyond, that can tolerate some of your acting out and still maybe nagging you or disciplining you, but that person is showing ultimately that they care for you to be well, right? So you will definitely need somebody out there that is able to see you beyond your acting out, right? You will need an activity, a path, like a river when there is a flood and the river just, over the stretches, it's borders, and it's not useful, right? It damages the land because there's too much water going among. Yes. Right? But if you put it within borders and you direct it, it can serve, it can be effective and it can do the job well. So people that can find typically is through a mentor or somebody that can see them beyond their acting out. Say, hey, come over here. Let's learn quilting. Let's deliver toilet paper to a homeless shelter. Let's ride a bike. Let's whatever. if the person can organize themselves on something that they can be effective and see themselves as contributing and as part of something larger, I think it helps to organize that self-esteem a little bit. It's true that I had all this and that I've done and made mistakes and I have encountered trauma, but it's also true that I can do something, right? I love investing in helping clients look out to others, even in the midst of them trying to put themselves together. I think that association builds self-esteem. Remember that baby, when the baby smiled and the mom came back cooing, and, the baby felt a sense of success. My smile worked, not in a manipulative way. My smile brought me what I needed. I do more of it because it brings me what I need, right? It's an exchange a little bit. And in that process, I learned wellness. It can be replicated. If I do something and I get something for it, I'm like, oh, wow, this is different. This is different than being in trouble. This is like, oh, wow, I didn't know I could do this, right? It starts building something inside that you didn't believe in. So I think a mentor and then activities or organizations that can channel that appropriately.
Support you.
Right.
Yes. How, what does the research show about how spirituality, having a spiritual practice, can support someone with some of these protective factors to heal some of the attachment? Because maybe it doesn't get resolved. Maybe the dysfunctional family dynamics are just what they are. And then, when someone doesn't have that secure base, learning healthy attachment and healthy relationships takes time and takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of courage to find those. And so I'm wondering how you've experienced how a spiritual practice could also support someone with building some of these, their own secure base, their own sense of self and security.
This is an excellent question. And it was exactly where I was headed next. Thank you for asking, Sarah. Research shows us that having a frame of reference for life helps with mourning, right? When we're mourning a loss, when we lost somebody dear to us, making sense of life, making sense of the loss within the frame of reference we have for life helps we don't resolve the loss, but in coping with it and in processing it and incorporating it, right? That we know from the research of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, frame of reference for life gives meaning to what happens, whatever that frame of reference is, religious, spiritual, biological, whatever meaning we make of life. When events happen that hit us hard, we can, this makes sense because in what I believe, is one more step or one more event in life, and it will be okay because, and then you incorporate your belief there, right? So it is huge. It is huge, huge, huge in incorporating. Think about, we're born as little entities, but we're social beings, right? So much that our brain is born with the capacity to do the neuromirroring, to receive the imprinting of that face and those behaviors on us, to secure what we need, to seek relationships, we're not isolated beings, right? And so if you follow that philosophy, we relate to a primary caregiver, to an immediate family, to a neighborhood, to a community, to a county, a state, a country, a culture, the world, right? It's like we are embedded in all these circles. And how do we make meaning of what happens to us, to others, is hugely important in securing comfort, coping, having hope that there is something more coming, right? I remember working with an indigenous client when I was first starting. I didn't know anything of anything, right? And this individual had problems with alcoholism. And he told me one day, we were in session, and he said, the problem with me is that I'm like a feather that was plucked out of a bird, and I was tossed in the wind, and I'm flying along in the wind, and I don't have, a bird that I belong to, that I can fly uniformly, something like that. He said it was a beautiful symbolism of how he was like a feather on the wind. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's like, we're not meant to be that. But he, look into nature and look at how things work in nature. He started saying, I got to find my other feathers, I got to find, and he started doing some community service, I remember. Mm-hmm. And, things started looking a little bit better. He decreased his drinking, right? And you said something crucial. You said it's broken. Sometimes it cannot be fixed completely and totally. Mm-hmm. And that's true. So how are we going to be? The challenge is, how do we evolve from seeking the justice of resolving it to incorporating it? I have this hole, and yet here I am, right? Mm-hmm. And how do I mourn for myself, make sense of it, and move on, right? But there is and I think that religious or spiritual belief is helpful with the mourning piece.
Yeah, of course. When somebody finds themselves stuck, so they have this hole, wish they could have had some kind of a normal attachment, but that just wasn't their experience, yet they're wanting to fill this hole. Of course, we know EMDR and trauma modalities can help people immensely with healing some of these wounds, and inner child work. All of these things are very helpful. But I'm wondering, what are some things someone can do if they find themselves in a place where they feel stuck with this pain, like you're talking about, the mourning, the stuckness of wanting the secure attachment, maybe some things to help them move forward.
Right. Well, I think that statement by Aristotle, I think we decided it was Aristotle. We may be wrong. I'm going to trust that changes the answer.
Hopefully I'm right. That's what I remember.
We can look it up, or people can look it up. Right? I think it is important for all human beings to reach a level of understanding about ourselves and our hurts. Mm-hmm. And how do we accepting of the hurt, right? A lot of the dysfunctional and acting out behaviors come from avoiding, right? Mm-hmm. Or trying to seek revenge for it, right? We're angry. We've been hurt. We've been damaged. Somebody has to pay for it. The world is a horrible place. It's like we can become aggressive. We can become despondent. We can be so depressed, or we can become addicted to things that will soothe or help us cope, right? I think that awareness is necessary, and I don't think there is an automatic way in which we can get that awareness. It could happen individually, that saying that you reach the bottom and then there is no place to go, but you bounce.
But you go up, yeah.
Right. Exactly. Sometimes that can happen. My belief is that it's typically somebody out there, right? Something or somebody. It doesn't have to be sometimes a person. It could be even a pet. It could be an activity. It could be a belief. It could be another person or it could be through our acts of service that we, see something good in ourselves and in others, and we start responding and bouncing, right? There are different ways to go at it, but a person can feel stuck. It's okay to recognize that sometimes we're going to reach those plateaus, either because we have lack of awareness, and we are so hurt that we don't even, have not accepted the hurt, have not sought out to kind of cope with it or remedy it in some way, or because we're angry and reactive. And so nothing is wrong with me, leave me alone. It's like we can be stuck in those. Ultimately, self-awareness, whichever way it comes, because we reach bottom, because we have a pet, because we have a friend or a mentor, or we did something for somebody else, or we embraced a belief. Ultimately, we're going to need one of those things to bounce back. The danger here is to feel so stuck that we think it's not worth living anymore and to become suicidal, right? Mm-hmm. Or to have so much shame that we're never going to overcome, or we're never going to qualify because of what happened to us, that we seek the way out, through suicide. And so that's a danger.
There's someone I love, and Edith Eva Eger. Do you know her?
I don't.
Okay, so she's an Auschwitz survivor. Okay. And I have her, one of her favorite quotes here in my office. Oh. But she says, our painful experiences aren't a liability, they're a gift. They give us perspective, meaning, and unique purpose, like help us to understand our purpose and our strength. I hope I got all of that. An opportunity to find our unique purpose and our strength. So
beautiful.
I think that sometimes we experience horrible things because of somebody else's behavior and lack of self-love. But one reason why I like to think about this is because if we can understand ourselves and our own attachment, and even understand our own attachment style, then we can think about what we can do about it. If we can think about what we can do about it, then we can build healthy relationships. And then if we can build healthy relationships and actually even reach out or serve in some capacity, then we are increasing our strength, but also the goodness in the community, and we're giving back. And we can find purpose and meaning. I don't think it necessarily means that that's going to resolve it. Okay, because
but there is something powerful. Yeah. If I think I belong, I belong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. If I think I belong, the whole world lights up, and I do belong. I will find how to belong. I will find how to, but I need to first believe, hey, I belong. And in order to feel I belong, I need to feel like there is something good about me, right? That's something right. that I'm worth something, right? And once I encounter that, the how to is, the practical way of how are you going to fit in, right? With others or in a relationship. I think it's important to recognize our attachment style. Are we overly pleasing? Are we dismissive? Why are we dismissive of certain type of people? Like, I'm going to share something personal here. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, growing up, and I'm 62 years old now. I'm no longer in that sphere.
No, but you're a young spring chicken.
Yeah. Growing up, I had this something. If a good young man, good, like totally into me, so good that he wanted to do the whole thing for me. And it's like, I'm like, ooh. I needed somebody like a bad boy, right? It's like somebody like, no, you're boring. It's like, I need some action, some excitement, right? Well, through the years, I have come to understand that very well. And I have like, wow, no, I cannot trust my own instinctual attachment because it's not good, right?
That's a good point.
People, right. There is a book out there. It's called The Drama of the Gifted Child. And I can't remember the author now.
Alice Miller.
Alice, yes. Okay. She says, whatever role we were given as kids in a family that secured self-esteem, right? We were attended to when we fulfilled that role, whatever that was, right? We were patted and we were say, good kid, celebrated, whatever, there were certain things we did that took care of maybe somebody in the family or the family as a whole that built us a base of self-esteem, right? We grow up to try to replicate that role because it is what brings us self-esteem, right? So I had a particular situation in my home life that my mom was a little bit self-centered, and I was always trying to make sure she was okay, right? And if she was okay, she wasn't going to be mad, right? And so the thing was to keep her and everything organized, all the beds made, all the so mom was happy, and so I ultimately was not going to be harmed, right? So I grew up to seek that. Who can I fix? So I am doing what I'm doing. Look how good I am. I'm fantastic, right? That was my sense of self-esteem, right? I replicate that. We replicate that style of attachment in later life. Becoming aware is crucial. It's like, oh my gosh, it has not fixed the fact that I'm bored by good men. But it has fixed. It's like, no, I don't need you. It's like, maybe I'm going to be alone and happy.
Yes, that's right. So you're aware of it. So even though that's not fixed, you're aware of your attachment style and how it shows up.
Exactly.
I love that. Thank you so much, Patricia. This has been it's been so fun and an enlightening conversation. And I've learned so much. There is a book called Attachment by Adult Attachment. And it does talk about attachment in romantic relationships. It was I think you'd like it. It was a very interesting book. I need to
find it. Yes.
Yeah. It was a very interesting book, but it does talk about the relationships that will serve you if you're either anxiously or avoidant, and the relationships that are going to increase like your anxiety or your avoidance. So it was a very enlightening book.
I am in awe of what you're doing and your work. And you're blossoming, beautiful blossoming. You. So you are like a Christmas tree all lit up, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for listening to the Heart and Soul Wellness podcast with your host, Sarah Carter. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts about what we talked about today, leave a comment. Also, you can find us at heartandsoulwellness.org and on Facebook and Instagram. Join us again as we continue to help women heal, connect, and aspire to their true and authentic selves.